Ever since the series dropped back in 2021, the animated adaptation of the comic series Invincible has garnered fans across the world. The series has managed to give us some of the most jaw-dropping moments in the entire superhero genre. And as pretty much the only big-name animated superhero franchise around, the show can use the medium to get away with a lot more stuff than you'd ever see in the MCU or whatever the hell James Gunn's doing with the DCU these days. But one area where the show falls behind the others, according to the fans, has been the animation, and they're not wrong. A lot of the episodes and minor fights and skirmishes are filled with shots that fans claim look like a PNG being dragged across the screen, and once again, they're not wrong. And even though Season 1 had its problems, it's still the best looking season by far, but why is that? Why does the show keep getting better everywhere except for the animation? Even in the newest season, you can find little inconsistencies all over the place during major events. Like in Mark's fight with Conquest, one shot shows both of his eyes are red. You see this? Okay, then the next time we see Conquest, his right eye's back to being milky white. I mean, what the f, y'all? It's small errors like this that make people start asking questions about the use of the show's budget, and the biggest thing that fans have latched onto to explain this inconsistency is the voice acting. So to summarize it, basically the fan logic goes as this: if you cut the celebrity cameos, you save money and improve animation, but here's the problem. That's not exactly how animation works, because the real issue isn't voice acting, it's budget, time, and manpower, all three of which are shockingly in short supply. Let's start out with the budget.
I got a bad feeling in the pit of me wallet.
You would expect Amazon, one of the richest, most powerful companies on earth, to be throwing a blank check at it, right? No, that's not what's happening at all. In fact, here's how Invincible compares to other shows when it comes to budget. According to Marge Dean, who's one of the executive producers of the show, she claimed that the show only has a fraction of the budget of The Boys.
Holy fuck!
Now, The Boys typically has roughly around $11 million per episode, so Invincible's budget could go anywhere from $500,000 per episode to around $2.75 million per episode, which does sound like a lot, but when it comes to mainstream TV productions, it's nothing. Let's take a look at Fallout, which has roughly $12 to $15 million per episode. Then you have the monstrosity, it's known as the Rings of Power, which is over $50 million per episode. Yikes. Not only does Invincible have a tiny budget when compared to other mainstream shows, but it's also just as small when compared to other animations. So right away, Invincible is operating with dramatically fewer resources, but money isn't the only issue. High-end animated shows don't just spend more money, they use more animators. Shows like Arcane allegedly use hundreds of artists working simultaneously, while big-name anime productions often use around 50 to 150 animators per episode. But Invincible only uses at most 10 animators per episode, which is around the same as X-Men 97, but double the runtime of most standard animations. Mainstream anime shows like Demon Slayer often operate on much smaller budgets than Invincible. I mean, I think Attack on Titan only used like 150 grand per episode, but they still deliver better visuals than anything Invincible could ever give us. But why? This is because most anime typically rely on cohesive teams of seasoned animators working together. They will occasionally bring in freelance animators specifically for big moments, but the workflow is optimized for hand-drawn animation. Invincible doesn't exactly operate like that. Moments like this from Season 1 with dynamic lighting don't really happen that much anymore for two main reasons: compositing and time. To make this explanation super short, compositing is the act of combining all the elements on screen. And on top of being half the runtime of Invincible, other shows can achieve greater compositing because they have dedicated teams, typically with dozens of VFX compositors per episode. So even if you doubled the budget, you still wouldn't automatically fix the animation. And even if you have every celebrity voice actor work for free, nothing really changes. You don't suddenly get more animators, you don't suddenly get more production time, and you don't suddenly get more frames. You're just going to get the same number of animators under the same deadlines doing the same work. And this is exactly why Season 1 still looks much better, because it had over 3 years of development time and they used stuff like CG to save on animation, which allowed the animators to concentrate effort into specific moments. And this brings us back to the voice actors because, ironically, everyone's big complaint happens to be one of the few things that's saving the show. When animation is limited, performance matters. Strong voice acting from recognizable names adds personality to scenes that would otherwise feel, pretty boring and static. And nowhere is this more applicable than my favorite non-essential character, personal hero, and the poster above my bed, Machine Head.
Hey, it's over. You're way out of your league.
Carry the two. Oh, hello, Invincible.
Well, welcome to reality, muchacho.
No way you saw this coming.
Oh,
is that what you think? See, this is what happens when your head's a fucking rock.
Fine, your funeral, because Liu's coming, and in case you forgot, he almost killed you and your little super friend in the onesie already. Or was that me? I really don't remember.
I'm out of my league. Except I've got money.
Machine Head's auto-tuned mob boss voice mixed with his personality should be absurd, but it's f***ing perfect. Without Jeffrey Donovan's charismatic performance, he's just some other crime boss, but with it, he's instantly memorable.
Well, look who it is. My own personal Judas.
Cutting performances like this to maybe gain a few extra frames would be a terrible trade. Machine Head talking like a SoundCloud crime lord is exactly the kind of ridiculous energy that makes this show stand out. That is not wasted money, that's identity. Invincible's animation issues are not caused by celebrity voice actors eating up the budget. They're caused by tight production timelines, fewer animators, and the show's runtime. Even if the show replaced every single voice with some cheaper voice actor, the animation wouldn't suddenly become arcane, it would just kind of become more polished but still limited. And honestly, that's just not worth losing one of the show's biggest strengths, which is its unforgettable performances by recognizable names. Because when Invincible does spike in animation quality, it still hits just as hard, if not harder than shows that have over 100 times the budget. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, rather than complaining about the show's animation, we should all be grateful it's as good as it is. Also, stop being so goddamn nitpicky, it's a good show. Okay, yeah, I've ranted enough for one day. I want to thank y'all for watching. A like and a comment definitely wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but hey, even if you don't do that, that's cool too. I just want to thank you for watching. Either way, I'm gonna get back to work on the next video, and I hope all of y'all have a great rest of your weekend, okay? See ya!